Okay, I want you to picture something for me.
Right.
You're walking through a garden. Maybe it's a friend's place, or I don't know, you're wandering through a botanical center.
Mm.
You're scanning the greenery, and suddenly something bright red just catches your eye. It's hanging off a small bush.
And naturally, your brain immediately starts trying to categorize it.
Right. It's round, it's red, it's shiny. Your brain goes, click, that's a tomato.
Easiest conclusion.
It's the most obvious conclusion. But then you lean in a little closer, you squint, and you realize, wait a minute, this thing has ribs.
Oh.
It has these deep sort of vertical grooves running down the sides.
Which throws the whole tomato theory into question.
Completely. Now it looks more like a pumpkin. A tiny, perfect scarlet red pumpkin, maybe an inch or two wide, just hanging there on a stick.
So your brain is just short-circuiting at this point.
It is. Is it a fruit? Is it a vegetable?
Mm.
Some kind of weird mutant pepper?
It's a classic case of botanical mistaken identity. And honestly, it's one of my favorite things about nature, how it just mimics itself to mess with us.
Well, that specific visual confusion, that moment of, what am I even looking at, is exactly where we're starting our deep dive today.
Okay.
We're looking at a really unique source. It's a blog post from kianming.org titled Notes on Gardening, Part 804, Discovering the Scarlet Eggplant.
Hold on, I have to stop you. Did you just say Part 804?
I did. Part 804.
That is a staggering number. I mean, think about that. Most people start a blog, write 3 posts about their sourdough starter, and then just ghost the internet forever.
I know.
This is part 804 of just the gardening section.
It's wild. And that number, 804, is actually a huge clue about who we're dealing with here. The author, a guy named Ang, describes himself as an old software plumber.
A software plumber. I like that.
Yeah. And the more I read this post, the more that title just made perfect sense. He's not just a gardener who likes flowers. He's a guy who spent his career, digging into the guts of software, fixing leaks, routing data, documenting bugs. And now he's applying that exact same rigorous, messy plumber mindset to the natural world.
It's a fascinating collision, isn't it? You have the kind of chaos of a garden where things grow and die and mutate.
Unpredictable.
Meeting the structured, logical mind of a systems engineer.
Exactly. And the result is this post about the mock tomato. So let's go back to that plan for a second. Ang admits in the notes that he was totally fooled at first. He saw and thought, tomato cultivar.
Which is a reasonable hypothesis, to be fair.
It is. But because he's a logger, and we'll definitely get into his logging habit later, he didn't just assume and move on. He verified. And it turns out we're looking at Solanum aethiopicum.
The scarlet eggplant.
Now, hold on. When you say eggplant, I have a very specific image in my head.
I know the one.
I'm thinking the emoji. Big, purple, long, maybe a little bulbous at the end. Great roasted with garlic. This thing looks like a red pumpkin. How on earth is this an eggplant?
Well, this is where our supermarket education really fails us. We tend to see the Solanum melongena, that big purple one, as the standard eggplant.
Sure.
But the nightshade family, the Solanum genus, is massive. It's like this sprawling, messy family reunion. You've got potatoes, you've got tomatoes, and you've got hundreds of wild cousins that just never made it to the grocery store shelves.
So the scarlet eggplant is the weird cousin.
In a way, yes. It's the cousin that decided to show up dressed like a pumpkin. It's native to Asia and tropical Africa, and it absolutely refuses to conform to that whole purple and long stereotype.
Ang uses a couple of aliases for it in the post that I think are just perfect.
Yeah.
He calls it the mock tomato, obviously. But the other one, and I might just start using this for everything, is pumpkin on a stick.
It is the most accurate description. It really is. If you look at the photos he included, the ribbing is identical to those like Cinderella pumpkins you see at Halloween.
Totally.
But instead of sitting on the ground on a vine, it's just suspended in the air.
And the color change is a huge part of the show, right? Ang describes the whole life cycle.
He does, and notice how he describes it. It's very observational. He's tracking the state changes.
Right.
It starts green. Then, as it ripens, it shifts into this bright yellow or orange phase. That's kind of the pumpkin phase.
Okay.
And finally, it matures into this deep, vivid scarlet red.
That red is aggressive.
And
it's like, look at me.
It has to be. In the wild, that color is a signal. But here's the tragic part for you, if you were planning a dinner menu around this.
I was going to ask, it looks like a tomato. It's related to an eggplant. Surely I can slice this up, throw some mozzarella on it, maybe a little balsamic glaze.
You could, but I don't think you'd enjoy it.
Why not?
Ang is very clear on this point. He notes that the taste is rather bitter.
Bitter. The worst.
Yeah. And while Solanum aethiopicum is eaten in some cuisines, usually cooked down heavily or used in soups, the specific variety Aang seems to be looking at, well, it's not really bred for flavor.
So it's a trap.
Yeah.
It looked delicious, but it tastes like medicine.
Essentially. Aang points out that in this context, it's primarily an ornamental plant. People grow it because they want that visual pop of scarlet red in the garden.
Especially during festive seasons, he says.
Exactly. It's decoration, not sustenance.
Eye candy, not mouth candy.
Precisely. And that distinction matters. If you go in expecting a salad, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go in expecting a living sculpture, it's incredible.
Okay, so we've established that nature is a bit of a trickster. We have a bitter, pumpkin-shaped eggplant masquerading as a tomato.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the plant is only half the story here. I really want to go back to Aang, our software plumber.
I think that's the right move.
Yeah.
Because the plant is the object, but Aang is the lens.
When I was reading this source, I kept thinking, this doesn't feel like a normal gardening blog.
Yeah.
Usually they're very curated. Here are my top 5 tips for hydrangeas. Or, look how perfect my roses are. But this feels like raw data.
It feels like a server log.
Yes, that's it.
Look at the title again. Notes on Gardening, Part 804. That formatting is not accidental. In software engineering, you have version control. You have commit messages, fixed bug and login page, updated database schema. You document the incremental changes because if you don't, the system just collapses.
And Aang is treating his life like a system.
He is. He isn't writing for an audience. Not really. He isn't trying to go viral with the shocking truth about scarlet eggplants. He's writing to remember.
I looked at the sidebar of his site, the metadata of his brain, and it actually made me feel a little inadequate about my own organizational skills.
Oh, yeah.
I have a notes app on my phone that is just a graveyard of grocery lists and random thoughts I've forgotten. But Aang, okay, listen to this list. This is just a sample of his notes categories.
Let's hear.
We have notes on gardening, obviously. Then we have notes on Haskell programming.
Which, for those who don't know, is a very functional, very mathematical programming language. Not exactly light reading.
Not at all. Then notes on Elixir, notes on Python, notes on Rust. So heavy tech stuff. But then, right next to it, notes on fish keeping.
Okay.
And not just generic fish keeping. He has specific categories for betta spawn and misca fishes spawn.
He's logging the breeding cycles of his fish. Of course he is.
Then notes on guitar, notes on dieting, notes on photography, notes on meditation. It's like he's running multiple operating systems at once, and he has a distinct log file for every single one.
This is what some people call a digital garden, but Aang takes it to a complete extreme. It's really a life log. And notice the range there. He switches from the extremely digital Haskell code, fixing typos in a script, to the extremely organic.
Spawning fish, growing eggplants, it's the texture of his attention that gets me. I feel like most of us have these hard boundaries. I am at work now, I do code. I'm at home now, I watch TV. But looking at his timestamps, it's all blended together.
That's a great observation. If you look at the post activity for February 2026, it is just relentless.
Oh, I did the math. I had to. The source shows account for Feb 2026. We're assuming the snapshot was taken around the 11th or 12th of the month.
Right.
The count is 36 posts.
36 posts.
What?
In, 12 days?
That's 3 posts a day, every single day.
That is prolific. I mean, truly.
And I looked at the list of titles surrounding this mock tomato post. It's just dizzying. Okay, so on one day, you have the Scarlet Eggplant discovery. But right before that, Notes on Fish Keeping, Part 195. Relocating my jewel cichlet.
A very specific tactical task, moving a fish.
And before that, Notes on Haskell Programming, Part 56. And before that, Notes on Photography, Part 228. Lessons in Urban, something cuts off. But you see what I mean?
I do. He isn't batching his life. He's living it and then immediately documenting it. It challenges how we think about productivity.
How so?
Usually we think productivity means getting a big project done. For Aang, productivity seems to mean capturing the data of the day. He's catching these little butterflies of information, a typo in his code, a red fruit in the garden, a fish moving tanks, and pinning them to the board before they fly away.
That's a beautiful image, pinning them to the board. Because how many times have I seen a cool bug or a weird cloud, thought, huh, neat, and then 5 minutes later it's just gone forever? My brain is like a sieve. Aang's brain is a database.
And he constructs it like a database. Look at the tags for this Scarlet Eggplant post.
Oh, the tags are intense.
There's not just generic tags like garden. He has 0211 2026, mock tomato, pumpkin on a stick, Scarlet Eggplant and Solanum aethiopicum.
Why would you tag O211? That seems excessive.
Not if you think like a software plumber. If he wants to know what is the state of my garden every year in mid-February, he can query O211 and see 15 years of history.
Whoa, wow.
Oh, in 2026, the eggplants were fruiting. In 2028, it was snowing. He's building a data set that gets more valuable the older it gets.
It's like he's playing the long game.
The longest game, and this connects back to that free library open source software philosophy he mentions, Flavos S.
Yeah, he has links to the Free Software Foundation and the Tor project in the sidebar.
In that world, knowledge is meant to be open. You don't hide your source code. You publish it so others can learn from it, fork it, improve it. Aang is essentially open sourcing his life. He found out the scarlet eggplant was bitter. He wrote it down. Now, if you search for scarlet eggplant taste, you might find part 804 of his notes and save yourself a bad meal.
It's a quiet act of public service.
It is, and it's humble. He calls himself an old software plumber. He has a disclaimer that says, opinions expressed here are my own. I cannot guarantee the accuracy. He isn't claiming to be an expert botanist. He's just saying, here is the data I collected today.
Here's what I found. And he was open about being wrong. That's the other thing. He didn't edit the post to make himself look like a genius who knew it was Solanum aethiopicum all along. He walked us through the error. I thought it was a tomato. I was wrong.
Hypothesis, tomato, data collection, bitterness, ribs, and then correction, eggplant. Most of us skip the recording the error part because we're embarrassed.
Right.
But in software, if you don't log the error, you can't fix the bug. Aang logs the bugs in his own perception.
So if we look at this pumpkin on a stick again, it's not just a plant anymore. It's a variable in his environment that he had to define.
Exactly. And look at how he finishes the thought. He identifies the plant, he notes the bitterness, he admires the color, and then he ends with a question.
Perhaps I should get one for propagation.
That is my favorite line in the whole piece.
Really? Why?
Because it marks the transition from observer to participant. Up until that sentence, he is just looking at the plant. But propagation, that means taking a seed, planting it, caring for it, and making more of it.
He wants to run the code himself.
Science.
Yes. Can I run this plant on my local machine? Can I deploy this eggplant to my backyard server? It shows that his curiosity isn't passive. He doesn't just want to label the world. He wants to get his hands dirty in it.
It really makes you think about how we engage with our own hobbies. I mean, I buy plants. I put them on the windowsill. If they die, I buy new ones. I don't think I've ever thought about propagating a discovery. I'm a consumer of nature. He's a collaborator.
He's a steward. And he's a student. Remember, this is part 804.
Yeah.
That implies 803 lessons came before this one. That kind of consistency is a superpower. If you do anything 800 times, whether it's gardening, guitar, or coding, you're going to understand it on a level that casual observers just don't.
It inspires me to want to start a log. Notes on podcast hosting part 1.
You should.
I probably won't. I'll lose a notebook. But I love the idea of it. So taking a step back here, we started with a visual puzzle, a tomato that wasn't a tomato. We ended up deep in the philosophy of a software engineer who logs his fish spawnings. What's the big takeaway for our listener today? I think there are 2 distinct layers here. The first is botanical, and it's a lesson in looking closer.
Don't trust the red fruit.
Right. Nature is full of mimics. The scarlet eggplant teaches us that categories like fruit, vegetable, tomato, eggplant, those are human boxes. Nature doesn't care about our boxes. It will make a bitter, pumpkin-shaped nightshade just because it can. So look closer. Don't assume.
And the second layer?
The second layer is about that software plumber mindset. We live in a world that is obsessed with the feed. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. It's all about what's happening right now. And then it just disappears. Aang shows us the value of the log.
The archive.
The archive, documenting the small stuff. You don't need to write a memoir. You don't need to be famous. But there is profound value in just writing down, February 12th, saw a red plant. It was bitter.
Because when you string enough of those days together,
you get a map of your life. You start to see patterns. You see the richness of your own experience that you would otherwise just forget.
That's really powerful. It's about valuing your own observation. Aang values his own attention enough to write it down 36 times in, like, 12 days.
Exactly.
So here's our challenge to you, listening right now. You're going to go about your day. You're going to see things. A weird car, a new bird, a strange noise in the office fridge.
Please don't eat the strange thing in the office fridge.
No, definitely don't eat that. It's probably not a tomato either. But seriously, find your mock tomato. What is something in your life that you've been glossing over? Something you've labeled as mundane or known?
Challenge that label.
Right. Stop. Look at the ribs. Check the color. Maybe check the source code if you can. Ask yourself, is this actually what I think it is? Or is it something totally different, something better, something beautiful, something worth propagating?
Be the plumber of your own reality.
I love that. Thanks for deep diving with us. Go find some pumpkins on sticks.
And write it down.
See you next time.